The hype train has finally arrived. This is the Ultimaker 3. Ultimaker has always had a bit of an incremental development process. Their 3D printers were always based on the previous generation and carried over large parts of the existing designs. The Ultimaker 3 makes some of the most striking changes yet, but still manages to look decidedly like an Ultimaker. So the Ultimaker 3 is by far their 3D printer which is the most tightly aimed at professionals, taking stabs at the markets of the big boys Stratuses, 3D Systems and newcomer Zortrax. The biggest new feature for Ultimaker is dual extrusion, not primarily for printing two colors, but for printing water-soluble support materials. And that's exactly how the machine is set up right out of the box. You see, what used to be called an all-metal hot end is now called a print core, which is still the same thing, but in a quick swappable package. The Ultimaker 3 comes with one for PLA and one for the PVA support material pre-installed, but an extra one for using two different color PLAs is also included in the box. If you ever need replacements or want to print a different material, you can get PLA, PVA, ABS, CPE and TPU print cores for €119 each, including tax, and while different nozzle sizes are planned, currently the selection of swap and print cores is still limited to the ones for different materials only. Looking at the two print cores, the right one also lifts and lowers mechanically when not in use by swiping this tab on the right side of the printer, and the unused one cools down to reduce oozing. Dual extrusion is still printing a waste tower in the rear right corner of the machine to prime each material before re-engaging it. There are also a bunch of evolutionary upgrades, like moving from SD cards or a direct USB connection for controlling the printer, to exclusively using USB thumb drives and a direct integration of Wi-Fi and Ethernet. The front of the Ultimaker 3 also houses a new camera to monitor your prints, and Ultimaker's own filament spools now come with NFC tags that let the printer detect the exact material you're loading it with. I guess that will prevent you from using the wrong print core for the specific material, but I haven't seen any info yet on whether this will also be communicated back to Cura on your local computer, or whether slicing will start moving completely into the printer. There's also a new Inductive Bed Auto-Leveling technique, but you still get the classic leveling screws, albeit now on top of a stiffer print bed construction for a more consistent print quality. The motion system still seems to be the exact same one used in the Ultimaker 2, and the extruders, aka feeders, are also identical to the ones on the Ultimaker 2 Plus. So, do we need to talk about print quality? Probably not. This is an Ultimaker after all, and the prints I've seen look perfect as always. It still can't bend physics, but it is still one of the best printing FDM machines out there. Now, even though the term open source has been heavily tossed around during the announcement, it is clear that Ultimaker is rapidly shifting its focus from 3D printers for the community to an Ultimaker-only ecosystem, which will definitely appeal to professional users who now have a single company to blame if anything should go wrong with their machine. But that's the selling point. Ultimaker has a very tight grip on the printer, materials, software and support, and will do everything in its power to make sure those components work together as smoothly as possible. As lower end options, the Ultimaker 2 Plus, 2 Extended Plus and Go will remain available. The new Ultimaker 3 will be shipping soon and is up for purchase right now, for example at iGo3D in Germany or Matter Hackers in the US. The base model for €3,600 including tax or $3,500 plus tax, while the taller Ultimaker 3 Extended runs at €4,400 including tax or $4,300 plus tax. Links are in the video description. Now, when will I be able to publish a review? Well, if we were to listen to Ultimaker, it would be at least 2 months after the first machine ship, so the earliest would be sometime in 2017. We'll see about that.